We've reached our destination.
You all arrived here from Cislodia, yes? In that case, you should depart via the south gate, rather than the one you arrived through.
After all that, Kisara never came back to see us.
I'm surprised she slipped away without us noticing. Where would she even go? I hope this place survives. You think the Danins and Renins have a chance of getting along? We didn't really do much to change things around here, did we?
This realm had its own walls to overcome. And in the end, it was the people themselves who decided to break them down, without any help from us. I hope they keep going, I really do.
Yeah, well, if you say so, I guess. Huh?
All right. I leave command of the Gold Dust Cats in your hands.
You've got nothing to worry about, Kisara. I'll do your brother proud.
Looks like it's time to go. Take good care of Zare for me. All right, Legil?
You've got it. Stay safe, Kisara.
Did you come to say goodbye?
Actually, I was wondering if you could use another companion.
Huh?
Well, we certainly don't mind you coming along. We just figured you'd stay behind and help rebuild. These people could use you.
I thought much the same thing. However, in the end, something changed my mind. Ever since Miguel died, I've been thinking a lot. About where I went wrong, what I should have done differently. You know, that sort of thing. It's true that our dream of coexistence saved many Danin lives, but we were naive and short-sighted. I was so wrapped up in my idea of how things should be that I didn't see the problems that existed right in front of us. I thought we had been given a utopia. And so I never bothered to look too far past its surface. I chose to be ignorant. And because of that, because of me, my brother...
Miguel's death wasn't your fault, Kisara.
Perhaps you're right. But in the end, it was me he entrusted this dream to. I learned that nothing in this life is free, or gained without sacrifice. Now that I know that, I'll just have to figure out what else I don't know.
So, decided to join us?
I have. And hopefully I can continue to protect Eldam and Sia from outside the dream world, for the sake of those still inside.
And here I thought you joined for an opportunity on my life.
In all honesty, I'm grateful to you. I truly am. I don't blame you for what happened. But I must also leave your service. No longer will I be defined by protecting a Renin lord. From now on, when I fight to protect my dream. All I ask is that you do your part, that you fight alongside me, not just for those who used to believe in your dream, but for those that still do. Dohalim.
I understand. I'm no longer a lord anyway.
Well, this crew just gets bigger and bigger. All right, where to, team?
We make for Mahag Sar. The Valley of the Four Winds.
Yes! What?
Do you sense one of your friends, Hoodle?
Mahag Sar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of lord we're gonna find there.
It doesn't matter. If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that.
Let's dispose of the trash.
You make quick work.
Want me to pick up your slack then?
Just pointing it out. Didn't even break a sweat.
The heavens must be smiling.
Maybe something's going on in the forest.
dispose of the
Come
trout.
on, come on! We've turned the tables on him.
There are still more left.
Right, no time to hold back.
So that's how a lord fights.
I don't perform as well when I'm observed.
Our work is done here. Let's move.
I'm right behind you, Shion. I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renin eyes. Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble. I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod. You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done. Now where might those fish be? Ha! All right. I'll let you go this time. All right. Well, that wasn't much of a challenge.
You sure know what you're doing.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins. Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Okay!
What do you say we check back in on...
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
Hey. Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, La?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
I'm amazed how easily you can move such a giant shield around like it's nothing.
Really? It's not actually as heavy as it looks.
It's really reassuring to have someone like you protecting us, though.
You know, I guess I never realized it before, but looking back, I've always been the sort to put myself in harm's way to protect those around me, even before I joined the Menancia Guard. So in a way, using this shield to keep you all safe feels like it's what I was meant to do.
You don't need to worry about protecting me. I don't plan on relying on you.
That's okay. It doesn't matter if you do or not. I don't protect people because they ask me to. I do it because I want to, and because I think it's the right thing to do. That goes for you too, Dohalim.
Me?
Yes. You see, you and I both want the same thing. We have the same goal. That means it's in my best interest to continue to protect and keep you safe as well. Even now.
I'm not sure how much protecting I'll need either, but I appreciate the thought. I'm sure you'll do us proud, Kisara.
Right. You can all count on me.
What was Kelzelik even after in the end?
Isn't it obvious? Clearly he wanted the throne for himself, and was gonna have his goons execute Dohalim to get it.
He had to have known he couldn't hope to defeat a lord. He should have run while he had the chance, instead of holding himself up in the palace.
Maybe he thought he couldn't run? Either way, the outcome's the same.
So he got desperate and decided to go for broke?
One might argue that he was another victim of mine, in a sense.
Huh?
There is no greater calling in life to a Renin than the crown contest, yet I refused to take part. The shock he felt at that must have been truly immense, enough to drive him to revolt, even though doing so meant defying Renin hierarchy.
I know I've said this before, but Danans and Renins wouldn't coexist here if it wasn't for your stance.
But that was no lofty idealism on my part, nor do I feel any pride at what occurred.
Spare us the pity party. You literally just joined us to uphold those ideals.
Shion!
No, she is absolutely correct. I shall speak no more of my misgivings.
Mind if I join you, Law?
Oh, hey, Alphen. What's up?
Nothing. I was just surprised to see you weren't training for once. Got a stomach ache or something?
You know I don't literally train around the clock, right? I do take breaks.
Do you? It seems like you're training every chance you get.
Well, yeah, it can't be helped if I want to get stronger. Still, it's important to let your muscles rest every now and then. That's what my dad told me anyway.
Zephyr said that?
When I was a little kid, yeah. I would get so excited whenever he came home. I always followed him wherever he went and tried to learn as much from him as I could. He said, it's good to be passionate, but don't overdo it. Just like there are times when you want to take a break from studying, sometimes your body wants to take a break from training too. I was always rushing around and forgetting to rest, so he ended up telling me that a lot.
That definitely sounds like him.
It's nothing to get sad over. Still, I can't help but wonder if that was my dad's way of teaching me the dangers of rushing into things too quickly. Then again, maybe I'm just overthinking things. I wish I'd had more time to talk to him about this kind of stuff. Night! You guys ready to hit the road? I know I am.
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
Hey, when did I get so popular?
This one's mine!
Resonate with the earth!
Do it!
Airborne!
Get toasty!
Burn strike!
Right, next one!
Already on!
We got flyers.
I'm stuck! Let us marksman handle it!
Impressive, Johaleen. All yours.
I'm all stuffed up! Mega ray!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
All right.
There's nowhere to run from my arc!
When he slows down, that's our chance.
Mega ray!
Leave the edge. Raging Lunar Sword!
Blow away!
Prepare to be sealed, O fleet of foot. Actually, that sounds more appropriate.
Let's talk even more doing!
Take this!
Searing flame!
No further!
Lunar correction!
Oh, now you're talking!
By the power of water!
Throbs in
Gemini Aqua!
Dragon Shell!
Back into the fray!
Dragon Shell!
Raging Lunar Sword!
Serpent Knuckle! You're
Here I
mine!
go! You're mine! Searing flame! Reload! Lunar correction! Lunar blast! I'm all stuffed
Dragon
up!
Shell!
By the power of water!
You're done!
Searing
There you
flame!
go! All finished here and now!
Lionheart!
To dust! Orochi's Fury!
An instant! Back into the fray! Mega ray! Searing flame! Reload!
Can't get out of this!
Searing flame! Reload!
Now or never!
I'm out! Back into the fray!
Can't get out of this!
I'm
ready!
I'm impressed!
Kisara! All yours, Kisara! Fight versus force!
Radiant Genesis!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course.
They really made us work for that one.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen.
Don't get careless.
You kill me? Like my face! Blow away! It's time!
Rising Falcon! You're mine! Demon Fang!
The tide of battle has turned.
That's the power of comrade and all!
Airborne scoundrel!
Sounds like a job for yours truly.
Tornado drive!
Do it!
Azure Storm!
Astral energy! Full throttle!
Hey, I'm pretty lucky.
It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're comfortable with them then?
Oh yeah. We used to run up and down these slopes all the time for our training exercises.
Damn.
Out of our way!
You're mine!
I'm surrounded!
That one's all mine!
Here I go!
Your blade moves like silk.
That just let my instincts take over.
How fast?
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart to your
Take care of them.
No sooner...
This could be useful.
More Danon ruins here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying to build anything around here.
Maybe they just had that much time and energy on their hands.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You're mine!
They got me flanked! Slash! I'll face it!
Orochi Fury!
Do it! I'm not so good with airborne targets.
Still got that more rat to tag!
Former Lord
Soft!
Detail!
Get toasty!
Burn strike!
Right, next one.
Already on!
Take this!
Ray!
Azure Storm!
Tectonic
Cut! You're finished!
Elusive deity! Eat this! Begin!
We did it!
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart to your heart's content.
We won that by a mile.
Let's dispose of the trash.
First strike! Can you take it?
Orochi Fury!
I'm on! Slash!
It's a duel of the arts.
This should make for some good weapon crafting material. I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest. Coming through.
Take this!
I'm on!
Orochi Fury!
You're mine!
It's over!
Away!
Stay calm.
Can't lay a finger on it.
I prefer it that way. What about you?
Just watch and see.
Here I come! Azure Storm!
Do it!
Away!
It's over!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
Great, now I'm hurt and dirty.
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.